Most people think packaging sells because of the words at the front, the flavor, the ingredients, the claims, and the story. But shoppers don't read first, notice first. And before they even understand your product, they've judged the color, the shape, the hierarchy, the font, and whether or not it's worth even picking it up in the first place. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why good packaging sells in seconds, before anyone even reads a single word. You have roughly 3 seconds on the shelf. And this is the amount of time most people have before the consumer decides whether or not they should pick up your product on the shelf. This is mainly because your packaging is competing with 50 or 100 other brands. So you need to somehow pull through and win an edge over these other brands that already exist in the first place. So how do you make sure you win over your competitors? The truth is, the decisions actually happen before they even read. So your packaging isn't actually decoration. It's the last salesperson standing between you and the sale. There's roughly 3 seconds to be seen, understood, and chosen. And on average, about 70% of the decision is made on the shelf. So you need to make sure you choose your packaging very carefully because it can make or break your brand. Law number 1 is findability. From 2 meters away, you're basically just a color. Imagine everything disappears on the shelf because everything is blurred on the shelf. What would actually survive is a block of color and a silhouette. That's how shoppers actually locate you before they read anything. You need to first make sure that you own a block of color because details can't actually be seen from a distance. Number 2, you need to own one hero. If everything shouts, nothing sells. Every extra element in your packaging steals attention from what matters the most. Making sure you convert the attention into a purchase. Make sure you pick a single hero, a color scheme, and a messaging, and you need to let everything else support it quietly. So that's not by overcrowding your packaging. Just put the minimum amount of information on there and let your brand speak for itself. So you need to have one focal point for your packaging. Everything else needs to whisper quietly. So try and avoid overloading information onto your front of the packaging because that will just confuse the consumer and they will most likely go with another more professional and premium looking package anyway. So try and avoid this at all costs. Rule number 3 is hierarchy. The good thing is you're actually in control in the order they actually read and see things. So you need to make sure the size you pick for each thing dictates what matters the most in that order. So for example, on the right, we have Coffee King, a brand that I actually designed myself. And first is the logo. So the logo and the name, who they are. Secondly is what the product is. And then thirdly is the detail. And you can see the size actually reduces as you go down the list because I want to make sure they first know who it is, and that's the brand. And then what the product is, second important, and then further details. So if you do it in this order, you will win most of the time. So it's the brand, product, and then the detail about the product. So now let's try the 120 pixel rule. As we go down and reduce the sizing, you could see the details slowly disappear. But one thing that actually still remains is the colors that I described earlier. And this is the same effect as blurring everything on the shelf. And the colors remain because the colors need to speak your brand and they represent you when no words or any other visual element will represent you. When the brand itself is really small size and you're not able to read it, at a glance, you'll see the color right away. And that color speaks for your brand anyway. And imagine this. When you're designing and you're spending all this time making sure that everything is right and every little detail is perfect, most of the time, people buy things online nowadays. And when you see it in a very small thumbnail size. So majority of the detail is not able to be read anyway. So you need to make sure you focus on other things like the brand name and what the product actually is, rather than focusing on the minor details that is not going to be seen anyway. So make sure you design small first and you could still read the brand name and the label carefully. Because if you could do this correctly, then your brand will be heard. Here's a brand that I made myself, and these are the mock-ups, and you can see every touch point is the same color scheme and the same layout, same typography, and everything is consistent throughout. From the packaging, the bag and cup, the takeaway cup, the merchandise and bags and everything else that I created for this brand is consistent throughout and everything is recognizable right away. And I follow those 4 rules that I touched on earlier. They're findable, focused, ordered, and it still works in a small size as well. If you want a branding that sells itself, click the first link in the description and I'll be happy to jump on a 30-minute consultation call and see if I can help you in any way possible. Thank you guys for watching my video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.